Peace, y'all. Before we get started, I felt compelled to remind everyone to stay safe and stay abreast of all the atrocities happening around the world. The people of Palestine, Tigray, Congo, Sudan, Haiti, and countless other territories are currently fighting for their rights and their lives. And if you're choosing to take action, please take every precaution you can. Stay hydrated, stay in groups, cover your face, and please, more than anything, don't lose hope. I've been leaving links to organizations and resources at the bottom of every episode description for a good minute, so please go check those out for places to donate and to find ways to take action today. We're not free until all oppressed people in the States and abroad are free. Much love, stay strong, and stay dangerous. What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Illinois-born singer, rapper, producer, and multi-instrumentalist Phoelix. We spoke about Supacell, Deadpool and Wolverine, the pros and cons of 40X, blazing saddles, singing and playing instruments in church, how working on Noname Shadow Man boosted his self-confidence, working with partner Kari Faux, music as a tool for centering yourself, and the creative process behind his EPs Calibrate and Traffic, the latter of which drops on Wednesday, September 4th. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. Summer's not over yet. Don't let the fall heads tell you any different. Summer's not over. It's not as crazy as it's been outside, but it's still warm. Pools are still open. Movie theaters are still free AC, shows, all that good shit. Everything's good. I like the summer. Fuck it. My name is Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names, do a lot of shit outside, inside, all sides, everywhere, all the time. And I'm with somebody else who's also a lot of places. I don't know how he manages to do everything he does, be everywhere he is, work with the people he works with, but just like it's been a crazy 10-ish years for son, and there's even more. There's a lot of change, a lot of growth. We were just talking about growth and affirmative affirmations off camera, and I don't know, man. This is a vocalist, sometimes rapper, a lot of times producer and instrumentalist. One of Illinois' finest. We got Phoelix. Phoelix is here in the building with us today. I don't know. I mean, yeah. So Traffic is out soon. It's not out now, but it's gonna be out. And we're here to talk about it. So Phoelix, brother, man, thank you so much for being here.
Man, thank you for having me, bro. I really appreciate it, man. Excited to be here.
Because I mean, like, I gotta say it publicly. I gotta shout out the lovely Kari Faux for the plug here. We did her episode around the time Real Bitches Don't Die came out, which, by the way, you produced that whole album.
Absolutely,
bro. I can't tell you how much I was stuck on those beats. Like when just like the Gangsta Boo song in particular, I ran that shit into the ground when it came out.
Yeah, that was surreal. That was a very surreal moment. A lot of those moments on the album were surreal. Really, just we carried along just our experience together and making the album was surreal in itself. But a lot of the people that she had involved, on the album, like Gangsta Boo, Devin the Dude, Crit, those are all surreal moments, man. And just a blessing to be able to create with someone who I, grew to love and want to spend my life with, but also who I respect highly as a creator. So that was a lot of fun, a great experience.
Yeah, man. It just makes me happy to see, because like that happens, and then now she's kind of running point on all the creative stuff for this new project you got coming, and I love that. I love that exchange.
Man, it's literally perfect. I say the word like serendipitous a lot because like neither of us was expecting this kind of a connection or relationship to happen, but it works so well in so many different ways. She has such insight and experience and just time in doing music independently, that she shares so much with me and opens up to me and allows me in on a lot of things that I may be running into but may not have to necessarily go through, but maybe can circumnavigate it, and she's just really very helpful and very wise and just extremely creative and extremely capable. I'll just be in awe of her, really, when she makes the artwork and stuff like that. When I saw the Calibrate and the Traffic artwork, I was just like, you're insane. Like who are you? It's every day I'm just amazed. So yeah,
Wow.
she's
She
dope.
did the Calibrate and the Traffic artwork too.
Yes, bro.
Crazy.
Yes. That's what
Wow.
I'm saying. Yes.
That's real love, man.
That's real. Exactly. That's real. And you know, one of my homies was telling me yesterday, like she just, she just once she loves you and she just knows you talking about, Carrie just being able to create this and make it so accurate to, how I envisioned it, how the music sounds, how the other visuals look, and like making it connect. Like she really, understands me. And like you said, it's really love, but like she cares about, executing that vision and getting it the way that, I see it. And I really don't take that, lightly. I really, really appreciate that. So
Yeah. That that should be valuable to find from anybody, but like
man,
especially from like the person you chosen to like spend your life with and your time and your energy.
yeah.
And like one thing, and like another thing that both of y'all share in common, but you might have, but you might feel a little more strongly about from what I've heard is like y'all both love movies, which is
Oh
why we're
yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. Oh man. For real. I literally correlate everything to a film or a TV show or yes, absolutely. I love all movies, good movies, bad movies. I love them. I don't care. I just enjoy it. Like cinema and acting and camera angles and storylines and plots and I just love it. Good or bad. Like corny, I like everything.
Yeah,
I love
bro.
everything.
No, I feel you. I'll just watch it. Like I don't, especially now. Like
Yes.
I don't give a shit. I'm just in it for the experience of like watching the movie, breaking things down, being in
Yeah.
the theater. Like I love everything about it.
Oh yeah.
Um, so let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who
hmm
comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Um, I just watched oh, what's the show? What is the show? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I don't want to look it up. I can't think of the name of the show.
What's it about?
It's about superheroes, but it's in like the UK.
Oh, I feel like I should know this too. It's pretty recent, right?
Yeah, it's recent. Supacell. That's what it's called. Supercell.
Fuck
I
it.
I just watched that like maybe if not too long ago, maybe like a month ago or so. And I was really that was to me like a perfect like first season to like creating a storyline, to creating a plot with superheroes, where there are like these different personalities, these different characters, these different like backstories, and in one season, they really captured like all the backstory, all the plot to be like, okay, now we're here, now we're about to go and do this thing, and it wasn't like overly extended, or it wasn't like what the hell is going on? What am I watching? This is a bunch of fight scenes. It was like real storylines and real action and real like different emotions that were in that, and it was really well written and really well put together, and I am really like excited to see the next season, like to see the story continue. That's a really dope one. I love like The Boys is one of my favorite TV shows. Um, I like stuff like that. It's very just like I don't know how to describe it. Like I don't know. It's very like modern, like what would you call it? Like I don't know how to describe it. Like current events, like sensitive, where like it describes a lot of shit that's happening in real time, but it'll like make a twist
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's just like a
Like I guess satire. Like I
yeah. I
guess
guess
that's kind of
satire
what
would be the
satire
word.
is.
Yeah, sort of basically, yeah. But that yeah, I like all the power stuff. I love it. Every single show, the Chicago one. I can't wait for it to come back. Um, I yeah, I like all the stuff. I like the good TV. I like the bad TV. I like not that any of that is bad, but like maybe let's see. What about movies? What movies have I watched recently that I like? I don't know. I pretty much the kind of person that I have my movies, but I'll just put anything on. Like I know what I like to watch, but I pretty much just watch whatever I see. Like so, I don't know. I really can't think of a movie that I watched recently that's like, oh, well, we saw the Wolverine versus what you call it, or Wolverine and Deadpool
Deadpool.
movie. Yeah, but
How'd you like it?
we saw it in 40x.
How was that? That's crazy.
So I'll say this: I did not know what I was getting myself into when I went into that theater. I was not aware of what 40x even was before I walked into the theater. So I'm like,
That's even better.
that's even
Okay.
crazier. So we're sitting there, it's chill at first. Then they start to introduce 40x. They're like, oh, they have the little thing where it's okay, this is what it's doing. These are different features, and the fucking seat starts moving. And I'm like, oh my, I have a tall beer in my hand. I'm like, oh nope, I gotta finish. I finished my beer, then fucking mist shoots out of my face. And I'm like, what the? So I'm like experiencing all this. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So ultimately, it was hard to like for me to watch it because I feel like I'm too old for something like that. Like if this was like 10 years ago, and I'm not old, I'm like 32. But if I was like 22 or like 25, I'd be like, yeah, this is lit. This is how I want to experience. But it's like being on a roller coaster for an hour and a half. Like
It's a lot.
it's a lot, but like it's a far more immersive experience. Yeah, that was probably my most. I guess that's my story that I tell about like film with like recent experiences because I was not ready for that at all. But
That's so dope.
it's
See,
crazy.
there was I mean like I've been trying to go back and do like one of those 40x experiences because my partner and I like maybe close to 10 years ago there was this movie that came out called Hardcore Henry. The
Mm-hmm.
whole thing was it was like a first person perspective movie that was made to like look and feel like a video game. Like
Yeah,
the character doesn't have a name and the whole thing is like the whole movie shot from first person like a GoPro or some shit.
yeah.
And we saw that in like the AMC equivalent of 40X. And
Wow.
like that's the only way because like I haven't seen the movie since, but that's the only way I'd ever want to experience that movie again. Like I
Yeah.
can't watch that shit at home. Like
Mhm.
the whole thing was made to be like a ride anyway. And it's
Yeah.
just like it didn't have the like they didn't have like mist or anything like that. It was literally just like the
Just
seat would move
emotion.
type shit.
But I mean, in first person perspective, that makes a lot more sense. Like I feel like in the Deadpool one, it was like he takes a step and it's like I'm like, okay, well, this is just
That's OD.
unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't know why were you shaking now. Why what the fuck was that? Like he sneezed and it's like all right, it's shit all over the place. But it was straight. That makes a lot more sense though. For first person, I would be like, yeah, I would want to. That'd be how I have to see it. Is like that. So
Yeah.
it's very like I feel like I have to be more selective with what movies I see in 40x in the future.
And then there was I didn't get to see it in 40x, but I know they're showing Twisters in 40x too. And
Yeah,
like
we were trying to
that's
see
a
that.
movie that's a
Yeah.
movie I'd want to see and like have my seat shaking.
Yep.
I want to like there's a scene at the end where they're in a movie theater and like the Twister's about to rip the movie theater apart and like somebody gets like lifted up and there's somebody under a seat trying to pull them down. I'm like, see,
I
nah,
need
like
somebody to
that one,
grab
like
my
throw
ankle under the
me like
seat.
water, throw wood in my face. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm trying to be in it,
Feel it for real. Yeah. Yeah, it's facts. That we tried to go see. I think that shit sold out though. But that'd be
Yeah,
one that be worth seeing. It. I want my shit to spin around when it like I need
exactly.
360 motion in my. But yeah, that's an interesting. I was not expecting that at all. I was not expecting that, but it was cool. It worked out. It worked
That's
out.
funny. But yeah, before we move on, like I saw Deadpool and Wolverine not in 40X. I liked it. I didn't love it. Like I love Deadpool, big fan of Deadpool.
Yeah.
It was just it was my least favorite of the three, and it's only because like it just didn't hit me the way the rest of them the rest of them did, like I just wish
No.
I don't like even now like because like I love Hugh Jackman, love having him back as Wolverine.
Yeah.
It just the movie is like some critic I like put it, it's just like the people put on the hat and they say the thing, and that's the
Yeah.
whole movie.
That's
And
it.
like I liked that, I enjoyed it, but it's not something that I need to like go back and watch again. Like the first two, I'll rewatch the first two ad
Those are good
nauseum. Them shits are
movies.
great,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I agree. I feel like one a lot of what was happening was like for someone who follows the Marvel universe was like, wait, what? Like what? Like this doesn't even make sense. Like what? Like I'm gonna be honest. This is a personal opinion. Like Wolverine coming back to me was like all right, the way you took him out was so like gut wrenching and like, oh, that was crazy. Like for you to just now just be like, oh, we're gonna just go to a different dimension and he's just gonna come back and like save the world again. It's like, and it's not technically the same Wolverine, but it's like y'all did the most like getting him out to be like, hey, and then there was the whole like what was it, 21st century versus like, or what was it, 20th Century Fox versus like Disney or whatever. They were like going back and forth in the movie. I'm like, that's funny. That's kind of like Deadpool style, but like a lot of it was just like, this isn't really like about. This isn't really a movie. It's a movie, but this is not really like a part of like the. So I agree with you 100%. Like I wouldn't necessarily see it again. Like I'm glad I've seen it once just to like pick up on whatever happened. It was cool to see. It was cool to see Blade. That was fire.
That was great.
I love that part. Blade is my favorite. But like outside of that, it was like, all right. Also, the fucking what's his name doing the accent, being the
yeah, Channing Tatum is
bro,
Gambit.
I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? I'm like, I know he's supposed to be from like New Orleans or like the Bayou or something. I'm like, what the fuck are you like? What? Like, I'm from Chicago, and I know that's not like, I know that ain't how we talking.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So I thought I was tripping because like I saw it happen and I'm listening to it and it's like funny. It's funny, but like in my head I'm like that's got to be like that doesn't sound right to me.
No.
But like there's a whole bunch of other people who are like Cajun and from the Bayou who were like, oh, he did great. So like maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I didn't like it. It was like not even that I didn't like it. It was just like it was like almost too silly. But it kind of seemed like he was trying. He seemed like he was the one thing that was supposed to be taken. I mean, like him and Blade were supposed to be taken pretty seriously. And I guess the villain lady whose name I don't remember, but Xavier's sister. I'm blanking on her name.
Oh,
but like it's just because like I was complaining about it on Twitter. Somebody was like, "Oh, it was supposed to be stupid." I'm like, I don't think it was supposed to be stupid.
I don't think it was supposed to be stupid
that
like
was,
that.
You could tell they meant that shit.
Yeah. I agree. That was definitely funny. I definitely laughed, but I was also like, well, you missed the mark a little bit. And I see him talking about doing voice training, and I did see people who are from there were like, yeah, that was good, that was decent. But like, I feel like, yeah, maybe I just like you said, I just don't know. Like, I mean, I have no fucking stake in how I can't speak like that. So it probably is not easy.
He popped out in the crown. He took the cards out. The cards exploded. He had the staff. I'm fine. You know, that's all I needed.
Yeah, we saw the graphics in real life. That was cool. That was tight. I was just stuck on Blade because like, Blade was one of my favorites, and a lot of people don't realize that Blade is in that same universe. And
so many people to this day still don't know that.
Still
don't know that like Blade's a Marvel character. He's like the first. He was the first big Marvel movie. 100%. Like he predates X-Men, he predates Spider-Man. Like that was like 95 or 96 or no, maybe a little later than that, but like late 90s, you know? So
yeah, absolutely. And that's like that was really the start in ways to the whole thing. And it's like, I don't know, that's an important part to me. And I loved all the Blade movies. Like and I'm glad it was Wesley Snipes too, specifically, because that's just ain't nobody else really Blade to me. You know, like I don't know. I'm like a I only like Toy Story 1 type of person. Like I only like Lion King. I don't want the other ones. Like, so yeah, that was special. That was cold.
Yeah, I hope like I'm not gonna lie, I hope, because I know they've been trying to work on a new Blade movie for some years. I know Mahershala Ali is supposed to play him. I think they've been through like 2 or 3 directors. Like the movie's in limbo right now. They just can't figure the shit out for some reason. Like it's kind of sad because I mean, like people want another Blade movie, and I know Wesley Snipes would be down to do another Blade movie. It's just like I just want them to figure that out. I mean, like Black Panther was a huge moment, and I know for people like Blade's gonna be a huge moment too. For all of those reasons we just said. So like I just want them to figure it out just to like
get it out.
I don't know. It'd just be cool to see another Blade movie. But you know, like I'm with you. I really didn't like Blade Trinity. Like I actually thought it was pretty bad. But the first two are amazing. Those movies are classics.
Yeah. I think that maybe the Trinity was more like for the nostalgia's sake, kind of like the new Matrix was like, oh, I love that because I like the Matrix in the past. Like I like this in the past. So I feel it. But I think Mahershala will be cold also as Blade now because he's like damn near like Wesley then. Like he got the
Yeah.
same little cut. Like they got kind of the same head shape. Like from a certain
Yeah, they
angle.
do
Like
kind of.
it works out. But
No, I wouldn't be mad at it. It'd be funny.
thanks.
Okay, so now since we're talking about older stuff, let's run it all the way back with you in terms of your movies. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house, like the first thing. It doesn't have to be the very first thing because people always ask. It can just be the first thing that comes to mind.
So I'll say one of the first memories I had was at my grandmother's house watching. She had Bambi on VHS, and that was like the only VHS she had in her house for a long time for some reason. And so I remember being over there and watching that and just kind of like even like hearing the music and being like and just looking, but like also really just listening and just like watching like the emotion, like the sadness and hearing the music, how it correlates to the sadness and like running and being chased and all these different things and just being like, wow, like this is all like one big thing. Just being fascinated with that. One of my first, I guess that's one of my first memories in general, but one of the first things that comes to mind is when I think of movies is like maybe like Blazing Saddles. And that's
How
a
early was
movie
that?
I was probably like, well, when I saw it, like I was probably like 10 or 11 when my
Okay.
parents let me see it.
Sounds
But
about right.
like, my dad got kind of snuck let me see it because I don't think I was supposed to be watching shit like that.
Right.
My
That's why I
place and
asked.
shit. Yeah. But I was just like kind of I don't know. I feel like I understood more of what comedy was because I feel like when I was young, I didn't like it was my parents used to watch Kings of Comedy and they would be laughing. I'm like, what are y'all laughing at? Like that's like how's that funny? But my funny to me is like cartoons, like so like Looney Tunes and shit.
Yeah, slapstick shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was my like introduction to like just like actual comedy, like no understanding certain events, certain things that have happened and being able to relate that to, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And it was also what I understood as comedy, like silly, goofy ass shit, like getting hit on the head and like sound effects and like, but that was one of my first memories. And it was hilarious. Like Gene Wilder is unreal as an actor. But yeah.
No, that movie's incredible. The two scenes, and it's funny because like the two scenes I always remember aren't the ones that involve Gene Wilder at all, even though he's great in the movie.
You're right.
But, like the two that always get me are like the very beginning when Son's singing the song, the the beer song or whatever. I can't remember how it goes now. Like, I don't get a kick out of champagne. Your alcohol doesn't throw me. Like that moment's great. And then at the end, when that lady punches the fucking horse in the face, you. I'm the physical comedy, pratfall, slapstick, Looney Tunes. Like that's my whole bag. So like I know I saw Michael Jai White, the guy who made Black Dynamite. He made another movie called The Outlaw Johnny Black a couple years ago that I went to go see in the theater because I was like, yo, I like Black Dynamite's my favorite movie of all time. Like I think I can say that.
That's one of my favorites too.
That shit's incredible. Ooh. And like so like I went to go see Johnny Black because I'm like, okay, let me go check this out. I went in not expecting Black Dynamite 2 and I was still pretty disappointed by it. It was like it didn't know if it wanted to be a comedy or a drama, but they do the Blazing Saddles thing at the very end where there's a fight and somebody knocks the horse out. And I'm like, if I hadn't seen that already, that would have been the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But I'm just like, they just directly pulled that from fucking Blazing Saddles. And I'm like, come on now. But
most of people that saw it didn't correlate that the way you did. But to see it, to have known, and that be one of your favorite scenes in that movie too, and then it being like, man, that was just from, that's something that happens in music a lot with me. I'm like, that was just that. But all right, you got it, But I feel you. I haven't seen that movie actually. I'm actually gonna watch that soon. I haven't seen that one you just mentioned, Outlaw Johnny Black.
Yeah, no, try it. It's like it just didn't really do it for me. Like once again, I've been a huge supporter since I saw Black Dynamite. It just didn't click the way I wanted it to. Like the cast is great. Like a bunch of people from Black Dynamite are in it. Anika Noni Rose is in it. She's amazing. I love her. But it just like I saw it. I was in the city. I saw it at the Magic Johnson AMC in Harlem.
Oh wow!
And it was like me and 2 old black ladies and like a man sitting by himself in the back, and like none of us laughed the whole time.
It was that silent.
But try it. I'm so sorry. Please try it. Go watch it.
If it's a shitty movie, I still will watch it, and I will be the one to laugh at like the bad jokes, at the poor acting, at like I think that like I go to comedy clubs, and it'll be and comments will like bomb, and I will laugh like nothing is wrong, like nothing's happening, like it's like just a great show. Because I'm not laughing at them, but I think that shit that's not funny is funny. Like, I think if people say something that's like blatantly not funny, I'll laugh because it's like, damn, that did not go the way you thought it was gonna go. And it's like, it's not like, oh, I'm laughing at you like you're hilarious, but I'm like, that took a twist and I still laughed at that. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just think that shit is hilarious. Like,
no, I get it. It's the difference between laughing with somebody and laughing at somebody. You know, like that's it.
Like me laughing at somebody is like, I'm not gonna laugh at you. I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna give a stale face. That's me laughing at you. It's like,
gotcha.
But if I laugh, I'm like, no, I'm still engaging whatever you're saying. Like everybody think that's funny, but I really did think it was funny. Like maybe I have a weird sense of humor. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't understand humor or something. But my understanding, that shit was funny. Like, so if people like, yeah, I hated it, wasn't funny. Like it's movies that I watch. It's random ass movie. It's this movie with Ja Rule and somebody. It's called like married a church girl. Or so,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that to me, that movie is so funny, but it's obviously like it's not the best. It ain't had the biggest budget. It wasn't the best quality, whatever. Like it was just.
I'm in love with a church girl. I'm looking at it.
There we go. Yeah, bro. Please watch that if you want to laugh, bro. And I don't think maybe it was meant to be funny. If it was, 10 out of 10. But like, even if it wasn't, to me, I think that shit. My girl Kari be like, what is this? Like, this shit is turn this off. I'm like, it's hilarious. Like, you don't think this is funny? It's like, no. Like, okay, bro. But that's just my weird.
Okay, so I mean, I'm gonna go watch this because this sounds like my whole bag. But like, there's something, like in the same vein. Before we move on, there was this other joint. I saw it for the first time like maybe 2-3 years ago. It's called A Day in the Life. I watched it on Tubi. It's not on Tubi anymore. I wish it was on fucking Tubi.
I started that the other day, and I'm like, man, I'm not watching this shit.
the sticky fingers. Damn,
in the beginning, in the booth.
What happened?
They were rapping in the booth in the beginning. There were like 2 guys rapping back and forth.
Yeah, I think so. I've brought this up like at least a dozen times on here because like my homie Wi-Fi, shout out to Wi-Fi guy put me onto this shit. But yeah, so like the movie is it's a rap opera, and the whole thing is written, directed, and starring fucking Sticky Fingers from Onyx. This shit is crazy, bro.
Yeah, I watched the first like minute, and I was like, man, I can't watch this shit right now. And just like,
bro, that like please, like you got to go back and find it and see. Like the whole thing is rapped. Like every character, every line of dialogue is rapped. Fucking Michael K. Williams is in it. Omar Epps is in it. Yeah. Fucking like it's. I don't know who owed who money. I don't know who owed who a favor, but like, bro,
who lost a bet?
It's some of the most fun I've had watching anything. And like, I don't know if it's not supposed to be a joke, but that's what makes it so funny, you know? Like it's not trying to be funny, but it's funny.
Exactly. That's what makes that shit even more funny. 100%. But it's funny. I literally clicked that a couple of days ago and like watched. I was just like chilling, laying down, like put it on. It was like, man, I can't watch this shit right now. I can't, not right now. Today I got time. Like the other day, I'm like, man, I need to just relax. Like this gonna be too much, bro. But I'm gonna put it on today for sure. I'll let you know. I'll give you a
that shit's incredible. Son. I mean like comedy is something that's clearly really important to you. So like as you start to get older, you start to develop your own tastes and you start to kind of come into your own definition of like what comedy is and what's funny to you? It doesn't have to be about comedy specifically, but like, was there like, what's the first capital M movie you can remember watching? Like something that's not just like entertaining, but something that really connected with you in like an artistic or emotional or spiritual way, like something that just really spoke to you.
Man, I don't know. I would have to say maybe like, and this is not necessarily in a spiritual way, but in like I kind of gained a different level of clarity with even more of what I wanted to do. And that was, it's gonna sound weird, but like that's probably like the Saw movies.
Okay, tell me why.
Like I feel like just the one visually it's insane by itself. If it was a silent film, it'd be insane. But like the sound effects and like the way that it just like amplified what we were already looking at and just made you feel like, because honestly sometimes if you're looking at stuff on like in silent, it's not as believable as if you feel like you're in the space, you know. And I feel like that's what that was. There were times I told you before, but like there are times where I would like put on a movie and I'd be literally, I forget what song it was, but I would clean the house and I'd walk around, I can't see the TV, but I can hear what's going on, and I feel like something's about to come around the corner, or like something like a bang happens, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh, like there's where, you know, everything comes from. And then you know, I'll sit and watch the movie and put it on mute and be like, like that looks crazy, but I didn't feel like whatever just happened. Like, you know, it didn't hit me. Like I just saw it, you know, like, but that was probably when I was like 15 or 16, maybe still in high school. And that's kind of what drove me into like production and like, you know, like scoring and stuff like that was that experience. Yeah.
So was it the first one specifically, or was it one of the sequels?
It was probably, that was like 2000, let's say 2008. What was that? I feel like it was 4.
That had to have been around like 5 or 6, because I think because we're the same age.
Yeah.
So I think the last the one that was supposed to be the last one, the 3D one with Chester Bennington in it from Linkin Park, I think that one came out in like 09 or 2010.
Yeah, I think that was 5. That what you're talking about is 5. It was 4 or 5. I think I watched 4 maybe the most, but it was either 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly. It was one of those. It probably was 4 because I was just watching that. I had it on DVD. So, yeah, that was big. I think once I had that realization, I went back and started watching like Star Wars again, and I was just like, oh my god, like I was like, oh, this is the Bible right here, like, you know. And then eventually when Interstellar came out, that was life changing to me. That like movie and that score, that whole story was life changing. That was years later, but yeah, I think Saw is one of the first memories I have where I was like, oh, like hold on, like there's something to this. And it wasn't necessarily just the fact that it was scary, but it was just like emotion. And there's other movies that are less like I'll say like Pursuit of Happiness is something that's like very, like the music in there is not, it's not overbearing or overwhelming, but it like accompanies like the mood perfectly. You know, and even like one of my favorite movies is No Country for Old Men, and there's no music in that at all.
No music at all, yeah.
And that's something I love. It doesn't need it. I can't. I could do some shit like, oh, this would be cool, but like I wouldn't want to watch it with music.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel right.
It wouldn't feel right at all. And I've watched that movie like, I don't know, hundreds of times. Like that's one of my favorites. And there's no music to it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But it's like there has to be intention behind having it. There is no reason for it to be there, and I feel like it just didn't need it.
Right. And it's crazy because I mean, like, of course, music, I hesitate to use the word manipulates emotions, but like that's kind of what it does. That's what it's there for, to kind of like direct you to be like, you need to be feeling happy, you need to be feeling sad, or like the juxtaposition is like, this is happy, but you should be, you know, like so like that intention's there. And like that's what makes No Country for Old Men so special, because it relies almost entirely on all the, like, lack of a better word, like organic sound happening in the scene. And like something like Saw is, I mean, like the sound design and like all the post shit and like the Foley sounds, like everything about the way a Saw movie sounds is just like you said, it's not even about it being scary. It's just about like creating mood and atmosphere. And like this isn't a movie, but one of my favorite video games of all time is Left 4 Dead 2. Like
Ooh.
my sister and I play all the time. Still, I got my old Xbox. Like whenever we're home together, like that's been our pastime for like the last 10, 15 years. We throw on Left 4 Dead and we just go blow up some fucking zombies. The reason I love Left 4 Dead is because like the game, like once again, like the sound design in that game is so intricate and so like, you know, like you can like it gets to the point where you can recognize certain zombies just based on one sound they make and like where it comes from. So it's like, oh, there's like a boomer over there, there's a hunter over there type shit. And like and then on top of that, it has like this thing they call like an AI director that kind of tailors the game to your experience as you play it. Like it's almost kind of like what we understand as like we call those like roguelikes now, where it's like you play a game, but it's never like it's a short game, but if you die, you start at the beginning, but it's never the same thing twice. So like it's kind of like a precursor to that sort of thing. And like Left 4 Dead 2 is when I first started to realize like what. Yo, my fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the all new Real Notes Patreon page real quick. If you're looking for ways to connect and directly support the podcast, the Real Notes Patreon is the best way to do so. For as little as $5 a month, you can gain early day before access to every forthcoming episode of Real Notes, as well as an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, where you can talk to others about the latest and greatest in movies and music, come through for some listening sessions, and talk about whatever else is on your mind. I know I'm gonna be talking a bunch. If you feel like coming up off a little bit more, you could get cool exclusive content like audio from Real Notes Live and Real Talk interviews. Those will be exclusive to patrons and ticket holders moving forward. Access to retro versions of my 60-second Minute Maid movie reviews, and even a monthly writing and podcasting workshop hosted by me. Regular episodes will still be available on a weekly basis anywhere you get your podcasts, but if you want the extras, you gotta come out them pockets a bit. Check us out at patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES. I appreciate your consideration and support more than you know. Now let's get back to talking. It wasn't the first time I recognized like what gaming could be as an art form and like how all of that stuff plays into it. But like, it's one of my favorite examples of it. And I think I see stuff like that in Saw a lot, because like some of the sequels aren't good, but like the lore is crazy and it can be fun to follow. We all love how grisly the kills are. It's all about the traps and shit. But like everything works the way it does because the atmosphere is so well manicured and so well put together. Like there's I saw Saw 10 last year, and that was one of my favorite movies I saw last year. That shit was amazing. I loved it. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, but I loved it. It was so dope.
Wow, that's amazing. I haven't seen 10 yet, but yeah, I think that that's just an aspect that I feel like is important in terms of like, in terms of being just selective with what we're putting into, like sonically putting in our bodies, because I feel like a lot of movies are destructive, in a sense where it's like there's certain scenes that I won't play again because I'm like that just gave off some weird energy, in certain movies where it's like I'm not going back to that like on an energetic level, so I feel like that's another level where it's important to like be very particular about, it's like food, what we put into our bodies, and it can be scary and all this stuff, but it's like there's a, I don't know, it means something, it means something. Everything has an effect, and so that's something I feel like is important to minding what we put into our bodies, what we put into our minds and our our energy. So
and yeah, I mean, like no better segue than that to get into like what's been going on with music on that side too. So I mean, like I know you grew up in the church. Your mother was a choir director, father's a pastor. Like a lot of Black people grew up in the church. It's a lot of people's first experience with music. But for you, when did I always ask this question, but I can already kind of tell what the answer might be. Like, when did music become capital M music for you? Like a thing that not even like, I know I want to make this or like pursue it as a career, but like, when did you first start like paying attention to music?
I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember a time where I was not like,
figured
100% like immersed in whatever was happening. I feel like, I literally can't remember. I can't, me coming into consciousness or whatever. My first memories are me literally probably listening to music or singing something or like singing in the car or like listening to choir rehearsal, or like listening to the organ, or like I was just telling my girlfriend this morning, it's like she was saying this one of these ideas that I had like reminds her of like like a church like organ player, like somebody playing organ, but it's not really organ, but it just kind of has that. And I'm like, it's crazy because when you first walk into church, like the organist might be playing, but nobody's really listening. And I feel like those moments are when I feel like people do some of the coldest shit, because you're just like, you're not really playing anything, you're just kind of like doing stuff to kind of fill the room. And I
You
feel like
set in the mood.
I used to
Like,
listen to that, so like every Sunday I would just be like, oh my, like whoever, I'm like, oh my, not whoever, but a lot of times I'd be like, this is ridiculous. Like people, like nobody's hearing this. Like I'm just like locked in on this person, whatever doing. And those are the kind of, I don't know, that's just that, all that carried into like me now. I feel like my family just really being musically like inclined just put me in the spaces to be able to find myself, find who I was within music. And I knew I had the love and passion for it, but finding what I wanted to do with it. And that's not always understood, all around, but it's a path that I knew in me and my brother, my cousin, like we knew we were on. We had to, follow through with that. And so I think that I've never not known that that music was a capital, was all caps, like all like capital, all letters.
mm-hmm.
That's always kind of been a thing for me. And that's maybe weird to say, but like I feel like a lot of artists aren't that way. But in a sense, I'm like, I don't know, I was gonna be doing this shit regardless, you know. Like I was never not gonna be playing the piano somewhere, playing the bass, or even like recording something or anything. It had to be, it's gonna have to be something.
Right. Nah, I get it. Like I grew up in a musical household. Like my dad, what's it called? My dad was a singer. He was a roller skater.
Fire.
He's a fucking R&B doo-wop soul nut. So like
Fire.
that was just kind of like around me all the time anyway. And he's
Yeah.
also like, he's 79, he's about to be 80 next year, and like
Amazing.
he's just got to be on top of everything. So like like we would hear like a lot of older stuff, a lot of newer stuff. He keeps like playlists, and he like listens to
Yeah.
all like the Spotify, like it's I forget what it's called, but it's like whatever like the new age R&B one is. So like he'll just be up
Oh,
on shit that I wouldn't even think he would know about, but he
he really
stays
loves
tapped
it.
in, and that's pretty inspiring to me. But like that was like I was in the I knew I was going to be involved in music in some way, shape, or form. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I was like, because I mean, like I grew up playing, like I played piano. I've been playing djembe since I was in high school.
Wow.
I used to play bass. I don't play bass anymore, but I
Mm.
did for a time. I sang in choirs and chorus in school. Was in bands, you name it. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, like it's just like when it's around, it's like, yeah, I want naturally, like, yeah, I want
Yeah.
to do that, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like my house when I was growing up, we had like, there was a drum set in our basement. My dad also played the bass. My uncle, uh my dad's brother is Ray White. He was the guitarist with Frank Zappa in like the 80s.
Crazy.
And so he would come and like, he gave me a guitar for Christmas and would show me chords and like, sit me on the piano and I would play and sing with him. My other uncle on my mom's side is Uncle Pernell, is an amazing guitarist. He plays around the U.S. a lot, and it's just a really funk like central, like funk blues, but this amazing vocalist. He would sit us down and show us, little chords and sing with us. And our parents, taught me and my brother and my cousin, how to harmonize when we were in like elementary school, and we sang like the national anthem in front of our school, and like have been singing literally ever since. And so it's like, and singing, performing, and whatever ever since. But it's just been like, it was, that was very important, and just putting like, taking the seed and putting it in the ground, and like just then it just growing on its own over time, just growing. But that was, was very integral into like, like you said, being in choirs. I was in choirs since even when I didn't want to be in a choir, I was in the choir,
Right.
like so I was in the choir. I started playing for my mom full time when I was like 13. So I was accompanying my mom on the piano when I was 13. She was singing around the Chicago area and in Indiana and Michigan or whatever, our little jurisdiction. And so I was like, I got to see like, at least in the gospel world, like what professionals look like, like professional
Yes.
musicians look like, like, so I don't know, a lot of those things I just took and applied to, how I move and how I felt like I needed to move. I felt like I needed to exist. It wasn't ultimately there, but like, I don't take for granted what I learned from a lot of people, a lot of musicians, and people in the church, from the church. Not everybody, not everything, but a couple handful of things.
Yeah,
So
like that stuff is like ultimately what defines you. And like thankfully, like we're all old and mature and capable enough to like sift through and just kind of pick the stuff that fits within like our skill set or our beliefs, morals, ethics, whatever. And we just kind of move. And like you do all of this and you build up all this experience. So yeah, now I can ask, when did you know that music was going to become more than just a hobby? Like, when did you know that it wasn't just going to be like a thing you did, but like a thing I mean, not even like a thing you lived, because you already lived it, but like, when did you know that it was going to be your career?
when did I know? So I feel like that's what I've always wanted, but I feel like I knew maybe around like 20. I knew I was in school, I was a music major, and I was basically didn't I had a basketball scholarship, partial basketball and partial music scholarship. I ended up having to quit basketball because they made me decide between, time was conflicting. Um, so I chose to continue my say a music major and not play basketball. And then, I ended up not being able to basically make my tuition the next year. I had to end up just coming home. And so then I was like, even when I was at school still, I think I went to, let's see, that following, no, I take that back. That following fall, I went to South by Southwest. I was playing for a local artist from Chicago. And I ran into a famous artist, and um, he was like, what do you do? I was 20. I was in a bar. I wasn't supposed to be in a bar. I just walked in there, just snuck in, having a beer or something like that. And he's like, what are you here for? It's like, he's like, what do you do? It's like, I go to school for music. He's like, you go to school for music? He's just older. Like, I'm like, yeah. It's like, why are you going to school for something that you're literally doing right now? It's like, you already play. You obviously you're not from nowhere near here. You play music in another state. Like, why are you like? And it kind of went on into like, you're putting yourself into miss my debt. Da, da, da. I was already trying to figure out why I leave, but that was kind of my like, you know what? I'm about to just lean into this shit full time. And then I started, really like, I've been producing, but I started really like honing my production skills. Like I got into a band with my cousin and a few people from my hometown for a few years, and we talked about this last night. We were just experimenting, for years, just experimenting, exploring, and just like it was just trial and error. We knew we were gifted. Like, we always knew that we were gifted because we just knew what we could do. But in terms of like honing that and turning it into something and utilizing that was just a long process. But I think around 20, I realized that like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do full time. I think a year later or so, I was working. We moved to the city into Chicago, and I was working downtown, and I quit my job. I was like, man, I can't do this. I gotta just do music because I worked first shift or like third shift or something like that at J Crew, and then I would go to class downtown, still going to school, and then I'll come home and have to make music, and I was like, this to me, these priorities seem backwards. I don't like this, and so like completely stopped going to school, completely stopped working, and just 100% started doing music. And that was around like 21 maybe, and I was still playing in church and playing gigs and all that stuff. But I was like, I need to figure out how to do music like 100% of the time. It just needs to like I just don't have to breathe this shit. And
Right.
it's that's why I said in the beginning it's surreal to like you know wake up and just be in this, and it don't got to be nothing like I'm not in the fucking mansion on an island, but it's like it feels like it, because it's like I'm able to wake up and do what I love and be around people that I love and I know love me, and it's like it's good. Like that's plenty. Like
Yeah.
so.
Nah, you really can't ask for more. Before bu- before I say before I say what else I wanted to say, who was the artist you were talking to at South by? If you don't have to say if you don't want, but I figured I'd at least ask.
It was Most Def.
Oh, crazy.
It was years ago.
Well, I mean,
It was like,
I mean, like Yasin tells you to do music. Like, what are you gonna do? Say no?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Be like, nah. I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I think that's it.
I mean, I mean, like he's done that like 5 or 6 times, so
Yeah,
who knows,
100%.
maybe, but like
I mean, and I understand. Like, I think I could have gone to school for something else. Like now in my head, I would have wanted to go and learn like I don't know, something different, like something like agriculture or something like that. Like, like some shit that's actually applicable or like I can use in my everyday life where it's like a real tool. Like, and it was good to learn music. I learned a lot, when I was in school. But like, if I were to go to school now, I would go for some shit like that, where it's like, this is something that we might actually need in a little bit. Like, but
yeah, it is what it is. It's nice to know a trade and to be able to take care of yourself and the people you love, but it's also nice to nourish your soul, like you gotta like it's like, and like not everybody's gonna be able to find like nourishment in like being able to like fix a washing machine. Some people do. Like
yeah,
I can do that and I don't find nourishment in that shit. So like,
literally, yeah, that's facts. That's facts. But it's about, I feel like it's about balance and like just like looking at life, not like I feel like a lot of artists especially when they get going, like me still a lot of times, like you feel like, oh, everything has to happen right now, everything has to be a certain way, everything has to look a certain way. And even then, even at that point of being in school and like, being like, oh, like what am I gonna do? Like sometimes it's still like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I gonna do? But it's like, the 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 blessing is in the ability to keep moving, to try again and to like, make another attempt. It's not necessarily like success is not like necessarily a thing or destination. It's like, okay, we get to wake up and do the shit over again. Like, you know, so that's what it's about.
Yeah, easy. And I mean, like, like, you've really done a lot of living through this music shit. Like, even like, like forget everything you've done by yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the work that you've done with like Smino and Saba and Noname and Gene Doe and Kari and like I remember when I first heard the Dinner Party album and I heard you on Freeze Tag. And
Yeah.
like first and foremost, like I like like I hear the beat. I'm a huge Boondocks fan. That's the fucking song from the Boondocks. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I thought I was listening to the wrong album at first. And then I hear you come in and you just kind of toasting over the whole shit. And
Yeah.
like like you've really it's been cool to watch that process, to see you going from like like the early stuff like Buddha with Saba from like 2016
Oh my God.
to like
Ooh.
Dinner Party and to all of this new stuff. And like because like you're somebody who's like been in bands and like worked with other people and worked for
Yeah.
yourself. Like you've always kind of been like a utility player to me, like somebody who's like either like you could be at the front, you could be to the side, you could be in the back, you could be the player, you could be
Yeah.
the composer, the producer, the rapper, the sing. Like you can just kind of take point wherever you need to take point.
Yeah.
And not everybody can take point like that.
That's real.
So
That's real.
like just because I'm always curious about this from like multi-hyphenate people who just jump all over, like how long did it take you to figure out how to balance all of that, like be able to like pour into other people but make sure that like your shit's straight, just like and like strictly creatively, like not
Yeah.
necessary unless you want to get into other shit, but
No,
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. That's something that I'm still working on now.
man, it doesn't, you make it look easy.
I'm glad that it looks easy. I'm so glad that it looks that way. But that's been a struggle for me since I was younger. Um, that starts, to me that starts in like the church. It's like, you can do all these things. Come on, do it, and we're gonna just like not pay you or not whatever, or not look out for you,
Yeah,
or not, we're gonna expect you to drive all the way to Gary to play for 3 hours, and we're gonna give you like, some McDonald's and then
yeah,
10 people.
$20 and a hot dog.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, there needs, and I enjoy, I enjoy like helping people. I enjoy like watching someone talk an idea to me and be like, give them back like music, and then be like, that's exactly, what I mean? Like I enjoy that process. So I don't like, to me, like, and this is one of my artists I work with said this is probably to a fault that you like this, but I like that's all the satisfaction that I need is like hearing something come to life like that. Like that. I get enough out of that to be like, I'm cool. Like, and so I think for a long time I didn't look at it like, oh, like I'm just giving and I'm not getting nothing because I don't really think like that. I don't really operate like that. But it does become necessary to like focus on yourself and to like not neglect yourself or forget about yourself. Like, because I don't know, especially creatively when there was just so many ideas that I had that I wanted to put out, but I felt like at a certain time I was so like there was so much other stuff happening that I was responsible for that like I didn't have the time to even do what I wanted, and I had to like basically take a step back. I had to put certain people in positions where I could be like, all right, I need to go and do this, and then I was able to do things like tempo and stuff like that. But yeah, that's something that I still work on now. And Carrie still be going to me like, you need to do you need to focus on you. I'm like, you right. Let me just finish this up real quick. Like, but that's something that I still work on now. I feel like I always struggle with because I'm just naturally, I feel like I just care about people and getting the ideas off and being heard, that's important. And I just enjoy doing it. So it'll always be something that I feel like I struggle with, but I'll get better at it.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a lifelong process thing. I'm the same way, but I think there's more than enough work of like your own that you've really been able to focus on that proves that like you're there when you need to be there.
Yeah.
Like at least coming from like an outsider perspective. And like one thing, like you're like going through your backlogs as much as I was able to before we hopped on. Like one thing I noticed is that like you have all this experience working with live music, working in gospel, working in groups, working in bands. Like one thing I noticed is that like like your arrangements and the types of stuff that you were making started to get more and more and more and more and more ambitious. Like every time, like even like before Calibrate, like even before Traffic, um, like like there's a difference between like I'm gonna bring it up again. There's a difference between like Buddha and stuff like man, like there's so many like stuff between like Buddha and like the left and like the stuff that you did on the last Smino album and the stuff you do with Hugh Sound, like like there's like all these different steps between all of that, and like I can like I started charting like, oh, he's starting to kind of lean a little bit more into like live instrumentation, and the arrangements feel bigger and like fuller, like maybe I'm being too granular, but when did you really start to kind of trust not or yeah, I guess like when did you start to like trust yourself more and start to really lean into like these fuller, more ambitious sounds?
I think the Shadow Man session was a moment where I really like got the most confirmation of like, all right,
That makes
I think
sense.
I might actually be coded this. Like, let me just go and do what I'm thinking. Because I think there was obviously kind of tell the story as it was like myself, Noname, Cam, OB producer, Smino, Saba, and I think a few other people. Um, engineers and stuff like that. And he basically kind of explained the idea of the song. Everybody went to their corners and started writing. I'm just observing. I'm just like sitting, chilling. Oh, Monty was there. Me and Monty just joking in the back, laughing, just like waiting for everybody to write their verses. And so they all go and record their verses. And I think I think it was Saba was like, man, let Felix go in there. Because me and him had been working a little bit before then. And so he kind of knew what type of time I was on. But I think everybody else really didn't at that point. I was just kind of like playing in everybody's band or something like that. And so he's like, let Felix go in there and just like do his thing. And everybody like left and like came back like an hour later. And I went and just like created this intro, like created this live like introduction into the beat, like created an outro, like done all these these things. And they were like, you just did all this in an hour? I'm like, yeah. But that's just how that's how my mind works. If I always had those tools and like be able to record, I probably would have been like, but the fact that I had access to all these things in this one place where I could go and like make this and like tweak this here, like, okay, take these drums, okay, pitch them up, okay, like slow this down here, cut it, and let me just like, you know, like whatever I was doing, like I could do it. I feel like that was a moment hearing them be like, oh my God. And artists that I, you know, I respected, like that I like their music. I'm like, oh, like, all right, like I think I might be good at this. And it was less of the playing and more like the producing and like arranging and like the producer aspect of it that I was like still like really getting comfortable with, you know. And I think it was in those years. That was probably like 2015, I think. This was the year we made that song. But yeah, that was probably the moment for me where I'm like, all right, yeah, I might be in the bag. And I just kind of took it and just I really, and as a producer especially, I started to trust myself a lot more than and just take I call it, I feel like taking risks is what I started to do, because I feel like sonically a lot of stuff I was doing was like not, I don't know, I won't say not safe, but I'll say like almost unorthodox, like pattern sounds, like time signatures, like it was all kind of weird shit that was happening. Like I think you talk about like the left, and I'm like, the way the way that sounds is, I love that, but the way it sounds is so weird to me. Like, but I think it's so tight. I think stuff like that is so cool. Like, but yeah, that's the time where I started to trust myself, and not, I won't even say to a fault. I just say it was like, yeah, I'm just throwing shit out. I don't like, not that I don't care, but like like if I think something, like, yeah, let's try it, like for sure. And also with other artists, I feel like the the more I trusted in myself, the more I was able to trust in the artists that I'm working with, you know, and like allow them to create how they feel like create, allow them to flesh an idea out and let it live and let it evolve, and not feel like I have to micromanage every situation. Of like, oh, I don't like this right now. I don't know, like, let me prejudge some shit before it even really takes its form. So that that moment helped in a lot of ways, for sure. That was spiritual shit.
I love to hear that, because I mean, like, you were in a pretty like the bag in that telephone era was large.
Yeah,
Let's put it,
that was
yeah,
like,
because like that, like what a, I mean, like what an album. Like just like I know your fingerprints are all over that project, and it shows. I mean, like, your fingerprints are all over pretty much every Noname project, but like, you know, like but like I remember being so like stuck on Shadow Man in particular. Like just I don't know, like there's something so like dreamy about all the production across that album. Like, and I think that song and Casket Pretty and Diddy Bop are my three favorites. Like, and man, I just like that, you know, like kind of Shadow Man being like a nexus point for you makes perfect sense to me. Just like considering how that song is kind of, I like looking back on it now and hearing people talk about it, like that one kind of feels like a fan favorite, like from like people I've talked to and people like, and just like the general conversation around that project and Noname. Like, I'm rambling right now.
No, you
but
good.
That makes perfect sense, that it's just kind of like that would be the point where it's like, okay, like, yeah, like, you know, like, I'm feeling myself. I got this. I'm cold. Let me like go and do it.
Yeah,
You know?
and I mean, even that time period, you know, of making telephone and even like kind of like simultaneously like bucket list, you know, that we're like,
right.
I was just working with Cam a lot, making beats with Cam, making beats with Saba. Me and Saba made the Casket Pretty beat, and so that was like, I don't know, it was just making beats with people who I feel like I connected with as producers, and also who like I connected with as people. Like we were having, you know, it was we had similar like understandings of each other's upbringings, of each other's like situations and things like that. So it was very like, I don't know, it was very like it was a lot of like confirmation in that time for me, for sure. That was one of the first times that I had like, you know, took a extended trip to LA to work on music. You know, that was like a growth period for me, where I just really like, I really just chose to like not like tuck and like just kind of be like, I don't know, you know, but be like, hey, what you think about this? Like, what you think about that? Like, let's do it like this. And then it could be yes or no, but like to just, you know, share my feelings, share my perspective, share my like ideas, share my creativity. And so that's kind of where it started for me in a real way, was then.
So let's fast forward about 9 years and go to Calibrate.
Okay.
Because, you know, like up
Damn.
until you know, like up until pretty much Calibrate, like you don't have a lot of instrumental only music, like not really, you know. So it was you know, like not necessarily a left turn, because like it's not like it's not like it's like I always think about like the Beastie Boys going from like Paul's Boutique and License to Ill, and then putting out this fucking jazz album, the Mix Up they put out like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That sounds nothing like their other shit.
Any of the other catalog.
Or like the Andre album, like the Andre flute album, which like, or it's not a flute album. It's ambient jazz. There's flute involved, but it's I'm trying not to be redundant, but like, you know, like for you, like it does feel like a natural progression. It's like, oh, this sounds like Phoelix, but like, talk to me about, you know, like there's a lot, you know, there's a lot to chew on conceptually with Calibrate. You know, like there's like the 3 elements involved, and each of those songs feels attuned to that element. Like, talk to me about putting that together and kind of taking that plunge into like a full-blown instrumental project, as opposed to like you occasionally coming in to sing or producing for somebody else. Like this is you going full instrumental only. So talk to me about that.
So with Calibrate, to me, that started as like really an exercise. It was really something that I was creating, honestly, like for myself, just to have something to meditate to, just to have something to literally calibrate to and literally reset to. And for me personally, it was so effective. It was so helpful, and like it just reminded me to constantly like just center myself. That I you know, in this time I was finishing up Traffic, or like kind of working on Traffic still, and doing and creating Calibrate, and it was just like, this is so practical, and like me getting ready to work on something that I feel like is at a high level. It takes a high level of energy to like kind of get off, to like kind of reset and like just still myself for like, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes at a time, and then go and work. And then at the end, like before I maybe leave the studio, like, okay, like it's supposed to just sit here and like reflect and then go back. And I feel like it was just so practical. And my whole like kind of what I'm coming into as artist now is just making music and art that's useful. And that's just like for the sake of like entertainment or a wow factor, or like just like to amuse people, but like literally to make it useful. Like something that you will play for a reason. You'll put the song that's gonna actually do something for you. It's gonna actually help you get through something, or like, you know, be something you can utilize in your life. And so that's what it was for me. And I just caught myself like in the moment of like experiencing it and like being like, man, this is so nice. I love how this did it. I'm like, man, I should share this. And I'm like, let me start with this, and then let's do Traffic, and then let's like just go on from there. And so I feel like that's something that I will keep doing, keep releasing, is you know, Calibrate series, you know, just as a reset like piece, you know, like to
palate cleanser. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like as much like literally, I'm gonna say how this shit that's in the world, the musically right now, like just like chaos and nonsense and whatever, like we need to like center it's like, I don't want people to understand how much of like life stress starts from like the shit that we put into our ears, the shit that we listen to, the shit that we take in, the shit we look at on our phones. And so even with the Calibrate visual, it's like I want to put something up here that's like visually like stimulating, but also like calming, you know, like colors and emotions, and like the pace of it, where it's like it's repetitive, but it's like it's not like you know, it's jolting you. It's not like shaking you or rattling you. It's like patting you on the back, or like, you know, like rubbing your shoulder, or like, hey, like it's cool, like relax, like breathe. Like that's just the energy that I feel like we don't really be getting from anybody. And I haven't done stuff like that before, but I've made like stuff like that all the time for me to listen to. I just wanted it to be, you know, not necessarily methodical, but more like sparsed out. And so I'm gonna keep dropping the Calibrate noise in between. You know, whenever I drop a Calibrate series, another something's coming right after. Like that should be like a signal, like, oh, it's a Calibrate coming out. It's about to be an album, or it's about to be something after that. Yeah. So
see, I like that sense of it. I like that style of intention. I think it's, you know, like I think stuff like that's necessary too. I feel like I've been trying to put myself in that position a bit more. Like I do that with beats. Like I've been working on I spent the last, like, I want to say 2-3 weeks working on this piece for this new site that I'm working at that I can't talk about yet, but we'll talk about it soon, I promise. Anybody who's listening or cares, but like it involves I wrote a 20th anniversary retrospective on the anime Samurai Champloo.
Whoa.
Like this the soundtrack was all done by like Nujabes and Fat John, like all these well, Fat John's an American producer, Nujabes was Japanese. I think Force of Nature is also a Japanese duo, and then this DJ named Suchi. So like the whole, have you ever seen Samurai Champloo?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm explaining this shit.
No, you're good. You should explain it though.
Okay, long story short, the guy who made Shinichiro Watanabe, who made Cowboy Bebop, made Champloo because he's also apparently a huge rap fan, and he's like, I want to make like a rap anime, and like then like that was my introduction to Nujabes and all of them. So like that show and that soundtrack are really important and special to me. And I love like the variety of beats they employed and like how chaotic they could be, but also how like calming and centering, like the stuff by like Force of Nature and Nujabes and Fat John, and like Fat John's like his album 108 Stars. Like I never would have discovered that if I had never watched the show. He also did the soundtrack for this manga called Teflon Funk that came out like maybe like 7, 8, 9 years ago. There's 2 volumes on Spotify. Some of like the nicest beats, like some of like the cleanest, fucking calmest boom bap beats you'll ever hear in your life. It's gorgeous shit. Like so like I've been working on that and like listening to all that music these last couple weeks has been like I've noticed that I've kind of been calming, you know, like centered and feeling a little calmer about everything just in general. You know, like the world's crazy right now. We all know this. I don't
crazy.
But like that shit matters, you know, like, it does matter. I listen to a lot of rap music. That's my job. You know, even if it wasn't my job, I'd be mainlining the craziest shit. Like I promise, you know, every once in a while you need to kind of come back to something, or at least I need to. You know, like some people don't, but every once in a while, you know, like even if I don't think I need it, it helps to kind of like sometimes, like I guess I'll like be forced to just sit down and listen to things like that, or like to something like Calibrate. You know, it's just nice to have that counter for when it's necessary, you know?
Absolutely. That's where the, you know, it's literally a tool for balance. Like it literally is not like, okay, only play this shit all day, but it's literally like, okay, when it's time to like, when you need to reset, like click play on this, it's like 10 minutes long. And after that, you'll feel better. Like you can go back to whatever you was doing, you know, like, and that's what I appreciate about it is it's not like, it's not overbearing where it's like all your face. Like it's almost like if you turn it down low enough, like you won't, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it gives you silence. Like it damn near mutes. I don't know how to explain it. It's like you listening to that and it being so low, like will take your attention away from whatever else. Do you know what I mean? Like
I do.
So that I don't know. I think that's special. Like, and I think that's necessary. That's something that I just be making sure. I'll just sit and play something and loop it and just sit there and be like, okay, now let me think. And then like just pause it, maybe not even save it and just go do whatever I'm about to do. But like that, I think that I just wanted it to be useful in that exact way because it'd be a lot of shit going on. It's a lot of shit happening in the world. Sometimes people be having a lot of shit in their life, and it's like sometimes you just need to be able to just like I just need 5 minutes of just like, and then just sit back and just relax. Then go back.
No, like that 5 minutes will feel like 20,
100%.
just because of how like restorative it can be. So
that's the goal, and that's kind of the goal with everything. Even traffic is to be useful, and it's not as meditative as Calibrate, but it is like it is a conversation piece. It's some shit to think about. It's something to talk about. It's like there's something to it. So
yeah, and like moving over to traffic, you already kind of said it, but it's like it's even more ambitious in terms of like the concept's certainly more ambitious. There's like more like I got more of a sense of the arrangements from it. Like it really does feel like a like this is this is like jazzy. Like, not to say that your stuff wasn't
Yeah.
jazzy before, but it feels more like explicitly jazzy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like, and you know, like there's like this concept of like, it's, you know, like it's called Traffic, and it's about like getting up in the morning, going on your commute, hopping on the train, and coming back. You know, and yeah, like it's like split
Yeah.
up with these different haiku tracks. Like, before I ask about like how this came together and the transition from Calibrate to this specifically, like listening to it, especially like right before we hopped on again, like one of my favorite songs ever is George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue.
Ooh.
I've loved it since I was a kid. I saw it in you ever see Fantasia 2000?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like, yeah, so like my dad took my sister and I to go see Fantasia 2000 in IMAX when it came out,
Oh,
and like that
God.
sequence was my favorite, like the one they animated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, the one they animated to set to the song. It's like I fell in love with that song. I've loved that
Yeah.
song ever since. And this project feels kind of like it feels like an extended version of like Rhapsody in Blue, or like a
Wow.
response to Rhapsody in Blue to me. So
Wow.
that really stuck out.
That's incredible. Yeah, I feel like oh, that's amazing. I really feel like Traffic kind of came about the same way that Calibrate did, where I was making Traffic before Calibrate, but it was the same kind of process. I was making a different album, and I like was kind of finishing it up, and just like I kind of just missed like playing, you know, as I don't really play like the piano like I do now, but I wasn't really playing the piano as much as I wanted to, and so I was just missing playing, and I just wanted to practice, and I would have like, you know, a little practice list. I play scales, and there was songs that I practiced too, and there was stuff that I would learn. Like I was trying to learn a bunch of like weather report shit just to like blow my brain up, just to like, you know, I don't know, learn a bunch of lines and just to like fuck with my head. But then I'm like, I want to practice something like and just like kind of open it up a little bit, like let me just like experiment and practice like improvising and like just like how I feel, like playing how I feel more. And so it's just something I haven't done in a while because I really don't be playing like that. And so I was just creating these little like these kind of like standards, like sort of, and I just started to record some of the stuff that I was playing over it. Like I recorded a little bass line, like put a little drum chop in there, and then I started to just like work it a little bit and like really kind of produce it out. Go back and replay stuff, like add little textures, and I'm like, damn, like after like maybe the first, I think maybe let me see, what was the first song? I think that oh man, I don't even know. I think that maybe Commute was the first song that I made out of those. And then I think the last thing I did was probably the haikus,
Okay.
um, which was when I was more into which was I knew more of what I wanted to do. But but yeah, it was pretty much the same way. I was doing something as exercise as a practice, and it just turned into a project. It turned into, you know, really 7 songs, and you know, something that I want to continue to do amongst. I'm just gonna be a lot of that I'm gonna do it obviously in the future in terms of styles and music and stuff. But I wanted to create at a certain point when I realized what I was doing, I wanted to create standards. You know, I wanted to create like not that we have the big book like that. I have no, but for me, I wanted to like it's kind of like gospel. How like there was traditional gospel, and then there was like you get Kirk Franklin, and you get like Ty Tribbett, and you get like where there's nothing wrong with traditional gospel. We all love quartet singing. Like everything comes from, you know, we understand, but it's like there's a like there's this too, which is, you know, cool, which is not
Right.
like I look at it in another way as like, you know, I feel like the not to get super overly spiritual, but like the ancestors be like, yeah, like that's my shit. Like and that's something that I always want to do is like just honor like, you know, the people that came before me that paved that got me here, you know. So I feel like all that put together is like and also with it being useful, it just became that way, you know, with the visual and the whole thing, and like even being able to explain it to Carrie in such a clear way where she was able to be like, oh yeah, artwork, boom, like you know, even the photo, like helping like arrange the photo shoot and all those things, and like so yeah, it was just was that, you know, it was very and it's very real, and that's very much like me. Like I think like that a lot. Like, do you know what I mean? I think in that style. Like when you hear the solos, that's how I like. I don't know. That's how my brain works. I've never played like even growing up. I've never played like how everybody plays. I don't play the same kind of chords. Like I don't know. I don't hear it like that. I hear it like that, but I don't like. I don't agree. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
Like no, I want to play like this. You know, and so that's just I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of I guess where it came from, was just an exercise that is turning into like I'm gonna just really go all the way and do me on this, and I love it. It's useful to me, so I hope it's useful to everyone else in that same way or a similar way.
Yeah. And I think it will be, like the thing that, like that's come up a lot in this conversation is just like wanting to be useful, wanting to be practical, wanting to be of service,
Yeah.
and I think, like that speaks to what you were talking about just like, like it's just about building onto the foundation. Like you mentioned Kirk Franklin, like great example. Like, like I'm not really a spiritual person at all. I kind of like divested from the church when I was like 10 or 11 years old. But
Hmm.
Kirk Franklin and gospel is something that I've always enjoyed. Like I
Yeah.
love gospel music,
That's
like
music. Yeah.
just in like the pure technical sense of like the creation and its sound and organs and harmonies and quiet. Like I love that stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like so it's just I just love the way it sounds and the way it feels, and there's a lot of emotion and passion behind it.
Hmm.
And I think, like you're bringing, you're building on the foundation of that and adding these other elements that will, like that may or may not lead to them becoming, like I love how you said like I want to make standards, because like
Yeah.
like people don't even, like it's the type of stuff like that that people don't even think about, and that's why they become standards, because
Yeah.
it's just like oh yeah, it's just there.
Hmm.
Like there's like certain songs like Miles Davis's Kind of Blue, that's a
Yeah.
standard. you
Yeah.
know like we could sit here and name like 80 gospel songs that are just like standards,
Gospel
that it's
standards,
just like,
100%.
sorry, what'd you say?
I just say I agree with you 100%. Like there's a lot
Yeah,
of songs
no,
that just
it's
became that way.
like, and like the thing, and like once again, the thing about Traffic that really stuck out to me while listening to it is, like it's useful and practical in the sense that it's something that it feels like you made to kind of soundtrack a person's day. Like I don't know if that's it specifically, but like that is the concept at play, and it's like, like like it's of service in that way, in the
Yeah.
sense of like, here's something for your commute. Like there's an artist from the DMV named Odyssey that I love. I've been a fan of
Mm.
Odyssey's for years. He's made a bunch of he made a beat tape called Rock Creek Park in 2011, and
Mm.
apparently he made that specifically for himself, because he would go on like bike rides through like the forests in Maryland, and he
Mm.
made that to soundtrack his bike rides through the forests in Maryland.
Wow.
And like this is kind of, I mean, like this isn't beats, this is like full blown, like you made a jazz album
Yeah.
basically. And like, like you made music to, like kind of be mindful to kind of like bring you center to whatever you're doing, but you kind of, for lack of a better word, calibrated it to be like this specific vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's cool to see, like going from like the Shadow Man moment to seeing you pop up all over the Dinner Party album, and see you kind of find yourself within all of that, and then come into this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like a nice full circle moment to see something like this, that's like, and like this is also extremely passionate, like it's not like aggressive and in your face and like super
Yeah.
duper energetic, but the passion's there, like it's there, and
Hmm.
you're playing like commute and commute and Rush Hour are my two favorite songs on
Yeah.
this project. Like you like the way the keys come in, like
Hmm.
on like the little hook part of commute, like you're on your Herbie Hancock shit, man. Like it's
Yeah.
like I don't know, like it was really giving, like there's a Herbie Hancock's on Flying Lotus Is You're Dead, which is also one of my favorite albums ever. And like
Oh
I
my
forget the
God.
song, but just like the way Herbie Hancock plays the keys and how it feels like he has fucking like 60 fingers sometimes, and like you kind of, there were a couple of those moments where I could feel, like that kind of spirit in there. I don't know.
Man.
This is I've only listened to it twice, but like I'm excited to really let this kind of sit and like unfurl
Marinate.
in my
Yeah.
stomach a bit, like
Yeah.
it's
Man.
been a journey just going through it the two times I got to listen to it. So,
Hmm.
it's gonna be cool.
That's good to hear, man. That's really good to hear. I feel like that's that Herbie energy, Wayne, Coltrane, that world is where a lot of all jazz pulls from today, and like is a real and was a real source and had a real connection to a real source of energy. I feel like they like
Easy.
the shit that they were on, the shit that they're still on to that Herbie still does to this day is like what the literally how anytime he ever does anything, anytime he starts anything off, it's like what like. But it comes from a place that I'm looking for. You know, what I'm saying that when we search for that, we all try to reach and try to communicate and try to convey. And so like I spent some time with Herbie and like I've learned a lot. I've soaked in a lot of information and like other people, musicians, but like Herbie being what I consider the current like the godfather of this shit living. Like it's surreal that I'm able to look and speak with someone like that. You know what I mean? But like to soak and indulge into just be next that close to someone like that to soak in the energy is like I don't know. It's surreal and it's like it's humbling, but it's like it puts it almost is like putting you to work. It's like putting you into motion. It's like, okay, like we gotta like let's start to I don't know how to say it, but like you know what I mean. Like it's time to put things into motion. It's time to take your calling a little bit more seriously. It's time to like take another step forward towards like what you
Yeah.
know you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like this is something that I've known I was gonna do a long time before I did it, like in terms of traffic, but I just never knew when. It was just one where like you know what, let me just go ahead and do this shit now because like what am I actually waiting for? Like what am I actually like, do you know? And so
Yeah.
that means a lot though. But hell yeah, I'm definitely on that type of time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like like I can tell you like put yourself in pole position to make this, like as passionate and just as practical as you could, and that like, that's not really easy to do. And
Yeah.
like I said, like about standards, like that type of stuff is like it's really easy to take like the practical stuff for granted because it's like like you might not think about like what if I don't have this. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
nice to kind of be in a position where you're like being like not even for other people's benefit, but like for yourself, just to kind of be like, what if I didn't have this? It's like you were talking about earlier with like waking up in the morning and just being like grateful that like you can make a living off this thing that you love because so many people don't or can't. Like
Yeah.
like that can be like you said the word humbling earlier. Like it's humbling, like and that's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I sense all of that here in this project, so it's cool to
Yeah.
hear you like actually say it, type
Yeah.
shit.
Absolutely, man. It's just important for me to always be like I was listening to the Buju Banton interview on Drink Champs earlier this week, and
Yeah,
he was talking about reggae. That first of all, that's one of my favorite Drink Champs interviews I've ever. But like he was saying how like in reggae like he's like you know it could be times where he's having a performance and it could be famine, it could be like a storm is happening, and people choose to come and experience like they need like to be fed like spiritually whatever emotionally like sound with sound. And he was like I'm a servant, like I'm here to give these people this thing so that they can feel
mm-hmm.
whatever to get through the next day or to get through life or to get through the next week or whatever it is. And it's like that's 100% how I feel. Like the whole like fame and like vanity thing, like I don't subscribe to that. Like I feel like I really am like here to serve like the like people, like whoever chooses to listen, like I'm here to like give, and so that's just I don't take that for granted because I feel like the position that I was put in, like the gifts that I was given is not like not even to be like bragging about myself, but it's something that everybody does not have. And we all have gifts that that are unique to us, but like I feel like I'm blessed to be aware of mine and to some degree, to the degree to be able to give back something and create something like this and be able to share it, where it has, like we said, like, purpose and it's applicable and it's useful. So yeah, I don't take that for granted at all because I mean, it's something that, you know, you could lose a window of opportunity, you could lose anything could happen, you know what I mean? And it's a blessing every day, like I said, to wake up and just be able to do this shit again. Like
Yeah, man.
real.
Yeah, no, like we're all vessels. Like
Yeah.
that's I've been saying that a lot the last week, I don't know why, but it's just like when people will tell me like, "Oh, this is great." I'm just like, I'm just a vessel, man. Like like I'm just here to, I don't know, like this shit's giving me so much. Like I just want to give back in some way, and that's what this is about, through experiences and music. And I don't know, I don't want to get too crazy, but like it's just like that's what
Yeah,
this is
bro.
about. That's what it should be about for
100%.
all of us. And to formally wrap this, Felix, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
If my life was a movie, it would be about. Damn. What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean? What would it be about?
So like it
Give
could
me an
either
example.
be like, how would you imagine your life would play out as a movie, or if you want to like compare your life to a movie. I always like to keep
Okay.
it open-ended because like everyone comes with a different answer. Some people go one way, another. There's no right or wrong answer. Like if you can't think of like it could be literal in the sense of like, what would my life be as a movie, or it could be like, oh, my life's like, I don't know, because it's on my mind, paid in full or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Um. Oh my God. My life. If I had to like translate my life into a movie, my life would probably be something like. Damn. I don't know. I would have to say. I would have to compare it to like. Damn. That's a good question. Hold on. Let me think.
no, take your time.
You got me. Okay. If I had to compare my life to a movie, it'd be the Four Brothers.
Really? Why four
Yeah.
brothers?
Because I have three brothers.
Okay.
I'm the third of four, and I feel like our relationship has been like it's just constantly grown stronger as we've gotten older. Do you know what I mean? We all had like different relationships, and we still have different relationships, but it's we've all been through so much individually and together that like I don't know, shit just made us stronger. And like I don't know, a lot of like I don't know how to explain it, but I ain't trying to get like too like but I would compare it to that because it's like life, like dealing with family shit, dealing with like parent shit that our parents, put us through, whatever, like, and still making some sort of way, like even though it ended like crazy, like that shit gonna end regardless. But like, I feel like the better that movie was them like dealing with each other's differences and like finding ways to like do something, like make like get whatever look like they was trying to get back, like I don't know. And to a certain extent of like when shit went south, I feel like I would say, but that's how I compare. That's how I would say my life is like, because it's just symbolically. I feel like with just the like what they experienced and losing like their parents and like being orphans, but like I'm not orphan to say it at that time, but like
Yeah.
losing a parent and like the drama with like dealing with the fact that you were neglected, things like that, by other parents or whatever else, whoever your parents were. But like that, I feel like that's what I would say. Another way I might say like training day. Another situation I might say training days because of the fact that I feel like I'm Denzel and the dude in the passenger seat,
Yeah.
like with myself, because I feel like Felix is like a representation of you know the person that I'm growing into. And so I feel like Felix is always talking to me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like shaking his finger, like, come on, like, we on this type of time. And yeah, I feel like so that's another way I would relate my life to a movie is Trend Day. But like, I say Four Brothers just because of the fact that I have three brothers and like, we are super close.
Right.
And, we've been through a whole lot. And I think that's something that I like resonate with in terms of me. Like, so.
Nice. Yeah. As long as you don't gotta be in a position where you gotta reconcile Mark Wahlberg saying nigga in front of you, then you'll be
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, Four Brothers is great. I haven't seen it in years, but I remember when it came out. I really wanted to see it because Andre and Tyrese were in it, and
Facts.
I was just ready for all of that. Like
Right.
Idlewild is one of my favorite movies ever. So like whenever like you ever see Idlewild?
You know what's crazy? I have, but I just saw it like this year for the first time. And
What
I
happened?
don't know why. I don't know why, but I was blown away. We were talking about that last night. I was blown away. That's like such a great movie. Atlanta really had a fucking because I think ATL came out in the same year or a year before, or
Definitely within the same like year or two.
that was just yeah. Idlewild was different. I can't, and I don't know why I haven't seen it because I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw that shit this year for the first time, and I was blown away. I need to
I
watch it
saw that
again.
shit in the theater, like when it came out, like in whatever year it was. It was definitely late 2000s. But
2000,
yeah. I love like I like musicals. I'm not big on jukebox musicals. That's the best jukebox musical I've ever seen in my life.
Do you fuck with Chicago?
I like Chicago. Yeah, I like Chicago.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I would still agree with you though. Like Chicago is like one of those things that's like I used to do like scoring and like competitions in theater in high school and shit. So like
Yeah.
stage plays and like that shit is like I'm on some nerdy shit. My cousin is also an amazing theater actor and vocalist. But yeah, Idlewild, like I should have been seen that. I should have seen that a long time ago.
Hey, it's better late than never. And yeah, man, like I came up, like I did a lot of musical theater in school and shit when I was a kid up until I think well, I mean, like I did a couple. I did one. I did one in high school. But like yeah, so like I like that'll always be a part of me, but like
Hell yeah.
at this point in my life, I'm not always looking for a musical, but Idlewild, like I'll
Really.
throw that on for any reason. I don't need a reason to throw on Idlewild. I'll just watch it.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, musicals are. I don't know. We gonna jump into a song real quick. Is like, please, like, I don't. But I agree. That was that was probably one of my favorites.
I don't want to drag this out too much longer, but it's funny because I'm thinking about musicals now. There are a ton of movies that turned out to be musicals that studios will go out of their way to not market as musicals.
Yeah.
Like the Mean Girls movie, like that one that came out at the top of the year. Like that movie's like it's not a remake of the movie, it's an adaptation of the Broadway musical.
Of the actual one. Yeah. The
there's
Wonka
no
movie.
songs in the trailer at all.
Yeah.
The only reason I found out was because I looked it up on Wikipedia because I haven't seen the new one. But like I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's an adaptation of the musical. And I saw a clip and then they start singing and I was like, okay, I see what they were trying to do.
Yeah. That Wonka movie that came out, I think last year.
Which one?
What the Wonka movie that came out last year?
Yeah.
That was that not damn near musical?
Yeah, but I mean, like the original is also a musical, so I mean, like
I guess you're right.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, of course, and yeah, I mean, like you mentioned it before. You said that you I read somewhere that you like love the Willy Wonka score. I think, right?
The Willy Wonka. Well, okay. The first beat I ever made was a remake of the Willy Wonka, the theme song, the Chocolate Factory. They come with me and we'll be in the love.
Pure Imagination. Yeah.
My first beat was literally called Pure Imagination, and this is me like doing the little shit, changing the chords and shit. But yeah. That movement was crazy to me as a child. Yeah. It's like it literally sounds like imagination. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
There's a Tisa Korean. There's a song on one of his. He puts out like fucking 36 projects a year, but there's like one EP he has that's just like he takes like the beginning refrain from Pure Imagination and just like throws fucking 808s on it and just starts rapping about like getting head in the back of a car. It's fucking crazy. I love Tisa Korean.
That's tough. That's tough. That's a good idea. I go listen to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it and send it to you later.
Yeah.
But Felix, bro, thank you so much. This was so enlightening, so much fun. Like I could tell. I mean, like I've been tapped in for a while, but it's nice to really like get to like walk around in your head for a bit and just like thanks for being open and once again like thanks for wanting to do this. I don't know, like I don't take that for granted when people come to me wanting to do it. Like it means so much. So just thank you.
Man, I appreciate you opening the platform, man, for real. It means a lot. And like I don't take anything for granted. I appreciate every single thing. People want to reach out and want to talk and have a conversation. I like, even like if I were to see you on the street randomly, we would know you want to talk about music. We would sit and talk, or talk about movies. We would sit and talk about movies. I just appreciate you opening up the platform, man, and having this conversation, man. This was definitely, I enjoyed this for sure.
Oh, man, thank you. Nah, happy to. Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about for me, man. So it's really my pleasure. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far, and shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.